Select original. Select original audio.
Audio.
Original audio select an option.
Settings
video audio settings original audio selection option മറ്റുള്ള ഡിസ്റ്റർബൻസ് ഇല്ലാത്ത ഇത് കിട്ടുള്ളൂ.
ഇത് മറ്റേ സൂമിന്റെ സെറ്റിംഗ് ആണല്ലേ. എന്തായാലും ഈ ഓഡിയോയിലും ഉണ്ടാവില്ലേ.
സ്പീക്കർ ഓഡിയോ ഇതാണോ?
സ്പീക്കർ ഓഡിയോ അല്ല, ഒറിജിനൽ സൗണ്ട് എന്നൊരു ഓപ്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Bhoji.
Any issues?
Okay, is clear? Voice is clear?
Yeah, everything clear, Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So, you will be talking with that one? Okay. Hare Krishna. Welcome all assembled devotees for today's Friday satsang. Today, Bhagavat Gita class will be taken by His Grace Anuttama Gopal Prabhu. We will welcome Prabhuji by chanting 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamandra. All together. Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Welcome you all for today's weekly satsanga. So we'll start with Jaya Radha Madhava prayers. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari.
സൗണ്ടിൽ കേൾക്കാല്ലോ പ്രഭു.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Jaya Girivaradhari.
ഹരേ കൃഷ്ണ പ്രഭു, സൗണ്ടില്ല.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari गिरिवरधारी जया गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना
यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना
यमुनतीरावनचारी
तीरावनचारी
यमुनतीरावनचारी
तीरावनचारी
जयो राधा माधवा जया कुंज बिहारी Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Is my sound audible? Hare Krishna. Welcome. So once again, welcome you all for our Friday satsang, where we have been studying Bhagavat Gita as it is by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So before we start, let us recite the Mangala Charana. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamaniti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome once again for our Friday satsang. So we have been studying the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So before going into the second chapter, what we learned in the first chapter, which was named or titled as Observing the Armies, where Krishna has taken the role of Arjuna's charioteer, and upon Arjuna's instructions, Krishna drove the chariot in between the midst of the two warring armies. On one side, the Pandavas, and on the other side, the Kauravas. And when Krishna was brought Arjuna to this particular situation, Arjuna, upon seeing his relatives, his teachers, his superiors, Arjuna became perplexed. Arjuna became confused. He didn't know what to do. And then he started giving various reasons. He gave various reasons to avoid this battle. And what were the various reasons that Arjuna gave? He gave 5 reasons, 4 of which come in the first chapter, and the 5th in the starting of the second chapter. So the 4 reasons that were given in the first chapter was, one was compassion. By nature, Arjuna, being a devotee, he was compassionate by nature. So compassion took over him. The second reason he gave was enjoyment. That is, even if I win this battle, I will not be able to enjoy because all my kith and kin will be killed. And so then how can I enjoy this kingdom? Then the third reason he gave was destruction of family traditions. That is, if the family is destroyed, that is, if all the elders are vanquished, then there'll be no one to give proper guidance to the women, and as a result, unwanted progeny will be created, and that will create havoc in this world. So Varna Sankara is the third reason that Arjuna gives. And the fourth reason is, by engaging this ghastly war, I'll be incurring sinful reactions, because we have learned the law of karma is whatever action we do, there will be an equal and opposite reaction. So by engaging in this bloodshed, by killing so many people, I will incur plenty of sinful reactions. So that is the fourth reason that he gave. And then we go on to the second chapter. In the second chapter, he gives the fifth reason. That is, after giving so many reasons, Arjuna again becomes perplexed. He doesn't know what to do. I'm totally confused. And then he surrenders to Krishna. Please tell me what I should do. So he's indecisive. He's not able to make up a decision by himself. So that is the fifth reason that he gave. So the second chapter has been named Contents of the Gita Summarized. So why did Srila Prabhupada give it such a name, Contents of the Gita Summarized? Because the second chapter gives a complete glimpse of what is to follow, or what is about to come. It gives a complete nutshell. Like if you take a book, there is, what do you see at the front before the actual subject matter? What comes before that? You see a index, contents. That will give you a brief idea of what's in this text. So similarly, the chapter 2 is like a index. It's like a contents of what is about to follow. So in the second chapter, we have various subject matters like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, then there is a glimpse of Bhakti Yoga, and following which Krishna explains Sankhya Yoga, which is an analytical study of matter and spirit, body and soul. And then that is followed by how to work with attachment, that is karma. He gives a discussion about Sakama Karma, and then he goes on to explain how to work without attachment, which is Karma Yoga or Nishkama Karma Yoga. And finally, Krishna explains the characteristics of a person who is self-realized, a Sthita Prajna. So this is how the second chapter is explained, the various topics that are explained in the second chapter. So for easier understanding, we can divide the second chapter into various sections, and to remember that, we have an acronym, GITA, Gita. So what does G stand for? G stands for Guru. So the first 10 verses of the second chapter deals with this topic, because Arjuna, he gave various reasons. We discussed that he gave various reasons how to avoid this battle, and then he becomes frustrated, he becomes confused, and then he approaches Krishna. He asks, he requests him, please show me the way, what should I do? So through this example, we should understand that if we want to progress spiritually, if we need to understand the spiritual science, we have to approach an authorized spiritual master. We have to approach the bona fide spiritual master, and from him we should learn this transcendental science. So the first 10 verses deals with that. So G stands for Guru. And after that, Krishna starts advising Arjuna. So I stands for identity. So verses 11 to 30 deals with this topic. So Krishna gives the first lesson to Arjuna. Arjuna, you are not this body. You are a spirit soul. That is your identity. Just like a driver operates a car, the spirit soul operates this body. So until we realize this point, we will have to undergo the cycle of birth and death. We'll have to undergo reincarnation. So therefore, it is very important to understand who we are. So that section comes from 11 to 30. That's why I stands for identity. Then, what does T stand for? Two duties. What are the two duties? So verses 31 to 53 deals with that. So we have our material duties as well as our spiritual duties. So the soul's worldly duty is called Swadharma. So later Krishna will explain that there are 4 varnas, and according to one's varna, a person has a particular duty to perform. So we have a Swadharma, our worldly duty or our material duty. Besides that, we have a spiritual duty, and that is called Sanatana Dharma. So we got Swadharma and we've got our spiritual duty or Sanatana Dharma. And what is our Sanatana Dharma? Our to serve the Supreme Lord. We have to understand who we are. We have to understand who God is. And after understanding that, we have to serve the Supreme Lord. So by doing that, we will also become self-satisfied. We'll find pleasure in that. So two duties refers to our material duties as well as spiritual duties. And what does A stand for? A stands for Atmarama. So the last 19 verses, that is 54 from 72, deals with Atmarama. Atmarama is one who is a spiritually realized soul. He finds pleasure in himself. So the qualities of a Sthita Prajna or an Atmarama is explained in the last section of this chapter. So now we are dealing with the first section of this, the G. We are dealing with G, Gita, Guru. So, and we have come to the end of the first section. How many verses are there in the first section? 10. There are 10 verses. So the first section can again be subdivided as follows. The first 3 verses, Krishna, he scolds Arjuna, he chastises Arjuna, and he says that he disapproves Arjuna's so-called compassion. So the first thing that he does is he scolds Arjuna. So in verse 1, Arjuna was full of compassion, kripaya vishtam. He was lamenting vishidantam, and his eyes were full of tears. Ashru purnakulekshanam. At that time, Lord Madhusudana, he spoke the second verse. He asked Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? Kutastva kashmalam midam. They do not befit a person like you, because you are a Kshatriya, Arjuna. Such impurities should not befall you. And then he continues to scold Arjuna. He says, Klaibyam masmagamapartha naitatvai upapadyate shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyakpovishta parantapa. He says, do not yield to this degrading impotency or cowardice. So these are very, for a Kshatriya, these words are very hurtful or very insulting for a Kshatriya. To call a Kshatriya a coward is very degrading for him. So Krishna is using very strong words. Why? Why is he using such strong words? It's to goad Arjuna, to make him fight. That's why he's using such strong words. So he says, do not yield to your petty weakness of heart. He says, get up and fight. And then and then again Arjuna has further doubts. So 4 to 6 deals with Arjuna's further doubts. So Arjuna speaks up. In verse 4 he says, how can I fight my superiors like Bhishma and Drona? And then very intelligently Arjuna uses or addresses Krishna as Madhusudana and Arisudana. Arisudana means killer of enemies. So why did Arjuna use those words, Arisudana?
He's telling Arjuna to kill his gurus because he's asking your gurus are giving money, we can clear fear of your enemy, how we can clear guru.
So he was indicating that Krishna had killed only his enemies, not his gurus or superiors. So how are you asking me to kill my superiors? How can I kill my gurus? And then verse 5, it shows Arjuna's nature of tolerance and detachment, because there he says that it's better to live by begging, bhaikshyam, rather than killing great souls, mahanubhavan. Rather than killing my teachers, it is better that I abandon this war and I start begging. So it again shows Arjuna's kind of detachment, his tolerance. And he says that if I kill them, this whatever I enjoy will be tainted with blood. So it's better not to fight this battle. And then in verse 6 he says, I don't know which is better. He's totally confused now. After giving so many arguments, Arjuna is completely confused and he says, I don't know what to do, whether to be conquered or to conquer. He's totally confused. And he says, victory is also, even if I fight this battle, victory is also not certain. Even if I win, it is actually defeat because I'm killing my relatives. This victory will be tainted with blood. So Arjuna, in a confused state of mind, he surrenders to Krishna and he seeks his guidance. And then comes the famous verse, which was taken by Amalarjuna Prabhu. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prichami tvam dharma sammuda cheta yachreyasya nishchidam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. So Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. He says, I don't know what to do, Krishna. Please tell me what is right, and accordingly I will do. He says, I am now your disciple. And then in verse 8 he says, I do not know how to drive away this grief. This grief is drying up my senses. Even if I win this battle, I won't be happy. So to understand the complexities of life, to understand the solution, we have to approach a bona fide spiritual master. So Arjuna realized that mere wealth, knowledge or material comforts are useless in solving his problems. That is why he surrendered to Krishna and he asked for guidance. So now we are coming to today's verse 2.9. Sanjaya Vacha Evam Uktva Hrishikesham Gudakesha Parantapaha Nayotya iti Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babuvaha. Sanjaya Uvacha Evam Uktva Hrishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa Nayotya iti Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babuvaha. Sanjaya Uvacha Evam Uktva Hrishikesham Gudakesha Parantapaha Nayotya iti Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babuvaha. Synonyms. Someone would like to read?
Sanjaya Vacha. Sanjaya said, Evam, thus, Utva, speaking, Rishikesham, unto Krishna, the master of the senses, Gudakesha, Arjuna, the master of curbing ignorance, Parantapa, juster of the enemies, Na Utsyate, I shall not fight, Iti, thus, Govindam, unto Krishna, the giver of pleasure to the senses, Utva, saying, Tushnim, silent, Bahuha, became, Ha, certainly.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chaster of enemy, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent.
Someone wants to read?
Dhritarashtra must have been Dhritarashtra must have been very glad to understand that Arjuna was not going to fight and was instead leaving the battlefield for the begging profession. But Sanjaya disappointed him again to relating that Arjuna was competent to kill his enemies, Parantapa. Although Arjuna was for the time being overwhelmed with false grief due to family affection, he surrendered unto Krishna, the Supreme Spiritual Master, as a disciple. This indicated that he would soon be free from the false lamentation resulting from family affection and would be enlightened with perfect knowledge of self-realization or Krishna consciousness and would then surely fight. Thus, Dhritarashtra's joy would be frustrated since Arjuna would be enlightened by Krishna and would fight to the end.
Hare Krishna. So Sanjaya, who was he speaking to? He was speaking to Dhritarashtra. And here Sanjaya is saying that Arjuna has taken the decision that he is not going to fight. So after hearing this, who was happy? Dhritarashtra was very happy. Why? Because now his sons can enjoy the kingdom. Arjuna is going to Instead of fighting, what is Arjuna going to do? He is going to beg for his living. Because in verse 2.5, he had said that rather than fighting this battle, it is better to beg. But Sanjaya very tactfully, he reminded Dhritarashtra that he addresses Arjuna as, how does he address Arjuna in this verse? Parantapa. Parantapa means one who is competent to kill his enemies. So he was indirectly telling Dhritarashtra, don't be too happy. Arjuna is anyway, he's going to fight this battle, because he addressed Arjuna as Parantapa. And the second reason he gave was Arjuna had, what was the most important step that Arjuna had taken? He had surrendered to Krishna. And his grief, the so-called grief that Arjuna is going through, is temporary. So he was giving a forewarning to Dhritarashtra that Arjuna is going to become enlightened and that he is going to fight this battle and that all your sons are going to be killed. So let's discuss each line we'll discuss of this verse. So Sanjaya Uvacha, Sanjaya said, Evam Uktva Hrishikesham. Evam Uktva, having spoken thus. So from verse 4 to 8, who had spoken? Arjuna. Arjuna had spoken. So after having spoken thus, Evam Uktva Hrishikesham. So when the suffix am, comes after the name, that means that person is being addressed to. If the suffix is if suppose it was Rishikesh, like in the next sentence, Gudakesha Parantapa, that means that person is speaking. So when it is being addressed to, it becomes Rishikesham, and the person who's speaking, it becomes at the end. Suffix becomes So when so Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa. Here that means to Rishikesha, Gudakesha spoke. Who's Gudakesha? Who's Gudakesha? Arjuna. Rishikesha is Krishna. Rishikesha means master of the senses, lord of the senses. Gudakesha means, what does it mean? No. Gudakesha means one who has conquered sleep. One who has conquered sleep. Sleep refers to tamoguna. So one who has gone beyond that. So it is interesting to note here that Sanjaya has addressed both of them as Isha, Rishikesha, and Gudakesha. Isha means, what does Isha means? Controller. Isha means controller. But one of them is higher than the other. Who's higher? Krishna is higher. So though Arjuna, he has conquered the mode of ignorance, though he has conquered sleep, though he has conquered the mode of ignorance, here Sanjaya is indicating that who is higher? Krishna is higher, because that's why he addresses him. Though he addresses both of them as Isha or controllers, he is indicating that Krishna is higher than Arjuna. Another interesting point is Sanjay uses one word to glorify. Of course, Govindam comes later, but in this line, he addresses Krishna as with one word, that is Rishikesha, and Arjuna as Gudakesha and Parantapa. Parantapa means one who is competent to kill his enemies. So why does he do that? Because it's to indicate that though Arjuna is a very great person, though he is a very great devotee of the Lord, this material world is so complex. This material world is so riveting. It is so entangling that even a Gudakesha, even a Parantapa like Arjuna, even he can be dragged down to a pitiable, helpless state. So that is why Sanjaya brought out these two names. And Parantapa, because though he is overcome by grief, Arjuna is competent to kill his enemies. So he will become enlightened and he will be able to fight this battle because now he has surrendered to Krishna. So evam uktva rishikesham gudakesha parantapa na yotsya iti govindam. So that Gudakesha, that Parantapa, he has now become frozen by indecision. That is the fifth reason for not fighting this battle. So na yotsya iti govindam, and he spoke to Govinda. That Gudakesha, that Parantapa, he spoke to Govinda. Na yotsya, that is, I will not fight. And in the fourth line, Uktva tushnim babuvaha. Saying so, Arjuna became tushnim. Tushnim means silent. So Uktva, the word Uktva actually appears twice in this verse. Did you notice that? In the first line and in the last line. So the first Uktva refers to what Arjuna said earlier from verses 4 to 8. That refers to the previous verses. And the second Uktva refers to the line above that. I shall not fight. Na yotsya iti govindam. So indirectly, Sanjaya was telling Dhritarashtra, your happiness is short-lived because Krishna is Rishikesha and Govinda. And being Rishikesha, being master of the senses, he will bring back Arjuna's senses, which had gone out of control. And being Govinda, he will give pleasure to Arjuna's senses by engaging them in devotional service. And what devotional service is Arjuna about to do? He is going to fight this battle. Have we time to go on to the next verse?
Next verse,
Because I thought I'll just complete the section. So we'll move on to the next verse, 2.10, and then we'll complete the first section of chapter 2. Tam vacha rishikesha prahassan iva bharata senayor ubayor madhye vishidantam idam vachaha tam uvacha rishikesha prahassan iva bharata senayorubayor madhye vishidantam idam vachaha tam uvacha rishikesha prahassan iva bharata senayorubayor madhye vishidantam idam vachaha. Someone can read the synonyms.
Come unto him. Uvacha.
come unto him.
Come unto him.
Come unto him.
Uvacha.
Vacha said,
Rishikesha.
Rishikesha,
The master of the senses.
the master of the senses,
Prahassan.
Prahassan,
Smiling.
smiling,
Iva.
Iva,
Like that.
like that,
Bharata.
Bharata,
O Dhritarashtra. Descendant of Bharata.
O Dhritarashtra, descendant of Bharata,
Senayo.
Senayo,
Of the armies.
of the armies,
Ubayo.
Ubayo,
Of both parties.
of both parties,
Madhye.
Madhye, between
Vishidantam.
Vishidantam,
Unto the lamenting one.
unto the lamenting one,
Idam.
Idam,
The following.
the following,
Vacha.
Vacha,
Words.
words.
Translation. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
Someone can read proper.
Purport. The talk was going on between intimate friends, namely the Rishikesha and the Gudakesha. As friends, both of them were on the same level, but one of them voluntarily became a student of the other. Krishna was smiling because a friend had chosen to become a disciple. As Lord of all, he is always in the superior position as the master of everyone. And yet the Lord agrees to be a friend, a son, or a lover for a devotee who wants him in such a role. But when he was accepted as the master, he at once assumed the role and talked with the disciple like the master with gravity. Master, he at once assumed the role and talked with his disciple like the master with gravity. As it is required, it appears that the talk between the master and the disciple was openly exchanged in the presence of both armies so that all were benefited. So the talks of Bhagavad Gita are not for any particular person, society or community, but they are for all, and friends or enemies are equally
Entitled.
entitled to hear it.
Tam uvacha Rishikesha. Tam means unto that person, that is Arjuna. Uvacha Rishikesha. Spoke Rishikesha. Krishna spoke to Arjuna. Prahassan iva bharata. Prahassan means smiling. Iva means as if. He was as if smiling. So that means Krishna, though he was smiling, he was actually restraining his smile. Eva in Sanskrit means certainly. Here it's Iva. Iva means as if. Bharata refers to Dhritarashtra because Sanjay was speaking to Dhritarashtra. Senayor Ubayor Madhye, that is in between the midst of the two armies. So this refers to the dramatic setting of the Bhagavad Gita. It is a scripture which was spoken in the midst of a battlefield. Vishidantam idam vachaha. Vishidantam means unto the lamenting one. So the Vishidantam has again come in the beginning of this chapter. First verse. Vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. So, but there's a difference between the two Vishidantams. In 2.1, Arjuna was lamenting, and soon after, Krishna spoke in the second verse, 2.2. Here also, Arjuna is lamenting, Vishidantam in this verse, and then soon after, Krishna takes over. But there is a difference. In 2.1, soon after Arjuna lamented, Krishna, he gave a kind of pep talk. He was saying, how can this impotence, this cowardice come up on you? How can these impurities come upon you? Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. You should get up and fight. So Krishna was kind of giving a kind of pep talk to Arjuna. He was trying to goad Arjuna into fighting this battle. But here, again, when Arjuna was lamenting, Krishna, instead of giving a pep talk, he was going to give specific instructions. So Krishna's role has actually changed. Initially, the role between Arjuna, what was the relation between Arjuna and Krishna? It was a friendly relationship. But when Arjuna surrendered, at that moment, Krishna's role changed from friend to guru, to spiritual master. So what do we understand from this? That is, we can give general instructions and we can give specific instructions. Like when we are giving a class, we are giving general principles. about Krishna consciousness, about ISKCON, about what Bhagavad Gita is. Those are general instructions that we usually do while giving a class or while distributing books. We engage in giving general instructions. But when suppose someone asks for something specific, like how can I progress in such and such an area, then we can give specific instructions. So specific instructions are to be given only when someone asks for it. If it's not asked for and you go ahead and try to give specific instructions to someone, it will always backfire, because that person is not going to take your instructions. Everyone likes to give instructions, but if someone doesn't ask for it, it's not going to work out. It will not only backfire, it might even strain the relationship between those two individuals. So that is why Krishna initially he didn't give any specific instruction. When Arjuna lamented in 2.1, he gave some general instructions. He said, get up and fight, Arjuna. It's your duty. Get up and fight. Now Arjuna has surrendered. And now Krishna said, okay, this is the moment to give him specific instructions. And that was why Krishna was smiling. Prahassan iva Bharata. So just imagine that you are walking down the road and you see two individuals speaking to each other. One person is crying, Ashru Purna Kulekshanam. He's crying. And the other person, is smiling at him. It's to you, it might look a comical situation. One person is crying and the other person is smiling. So why did Krishna actually smile here? What is the reason for that? One reason I already mentioned. Before he gave specific instructions, the relationship between Krishna and Arjuna were on a friendly basis. But now the situation has changed. So from a friend, Krishna has suddenly become a guru. He has become a spiritual master. So thinking about that, Krishna, he is giving a gentle smile. And the second reason why he gave it was because now through Arjuna, I am going to give to humanity this wonderful science of yoga. So thinking about that, Krishna, Prahassan iva Bharata. So in the next class, we're going to start. The actual Bhagavad Gita is about to begin. Krishna is going to give us specific instructions. And Arjuna, besides being a devotee of the Lord, he has various other qualities which we already discussed in the previous chapters. That is Sama and Dhamma. He has tolerance. He can control his mind and senses. He is indifferent to the dualities of this material world. And Shraddha, he has faith in the words of the Lord. So with all these qualifications, Arjuna is all set to hear the Bhagavad Gita, which we'll discuss in the next class. Okay? Hare Krishna. If you have any comments or queries, you can ask.
Hare Krishna, any questions or any comments? Hare Krishna? How will you pronounce?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Danta Pranams.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your very wonderful class. Especially the instruction which you said, the specific instruction and general instructions. It's very, very important to understand because we are also like in Krishna consciousness, we'll be preaching. So generally, it's very important that we have to follow that. We have to give the Krishna consciousness to everybody. But when they are asking in detail, if you give, they will appreciate it. So one of the lectures I heard, somebody was saying, like the preacher was explaining, like when he was on the flight, somebody asked him, what is the essence of Gita? Can you just tell me, like, very, very quick, like a crisp one? Then he said, एक आदमी हंसता है, एक आदमी रोता है, यही गीता है, like that. So 3 lines. Then if you will ask why this person is smiling, then why this person is crying, then we can explain the whole Gita. So why he is crying. So like that, it was very, very relevant to always preach Krishna consciousness. And when somebody will ask in specific, then we can give the more details on that, and they will really appreciate it. Thank you, Prabhu, for that wonderful instruction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. You're able to hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. I can hear you.
Basically, with regard to why Krishna smiles at Arjuna, I've heard in one lecture that a guru doesn't laugh; he smiles because in this particular situation, Krishna knew that Arjuna was capable of winning the battle because of the enormous capacity he had. So by giving the smile, it is a kind of a sarcasm, saying that Arjuna, you have all the potency, but you are not actually utilizing it to the full extent. So that is one of the things which I heard in one of the lectures. I just thought I'd just share this with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. What's the next program?
Hare Krishna. So only one announcement.
The connection motion.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Roji, that is one announcement regarding the South Vrindavan Villa project. If anybody is interested, they can contact immediately because it is getting over. So it is coming around 38 lakhs and it is including land and the construction of the building. It is 1200 plus square feet is coming. Just now they clarified it is almost getting over. Anybody is interested, please contact immediately. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So we will be chanting one round now. So everybody can join. Thanks for Okay. So we will all together will thank Anuttama Gopal Prabhu for his wonderful class today. He explained very nicely the first part of the second chapter, 1 to 10. It is concluded now. As he told, that next week onwards we will be entering to the Bhagavat Gita. Krishna is starting to speak. So for giving the wonderful explanation, we will thank Prabhuji by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times all together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chanting one round. Anybody